Roses are red.
Violets are blue.
It's Poetry Month. Happy April!
Hello, everyone. I'm Rebecca.
I'm Lelia.
And we are the Boozy Booksellers.
Clink! Shout out to our such wonderful holiday gifts that we got and are now using quite, that's right, get that 360 glam cam shot of these delightful mugs.
Oh my god, I'm so happy that you guys like us enough to, give us the really awesome dog mugs for the holidays, and we finally are using them in April. But also
gonna go hit up some South Block for nothing helps after drinking like a kale smoothie or a wheatgrass shot.
It's true.
Does the body good.
So shout out to our other patron, admirer. We gotta come up with a fun fandom name for the Boozy Booksellers.
You guys crowdsource that. Let us know what you're comfortable with.
Let us know on Twitter. But so it is Poetry Month in April. And we thought it would be fun to share with you guys some of our favorite poetry books, because we're very fancy.
I like poetry because you can read it quickly.
That aside, we're going to share with you some of our favorite poets. And my first one is Maya Angelou. This is her memoir, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings, but she has so many different poetry collections and all sorts of really wonderful poetry. And she's just a beautiful writer. Her life was so fascinating and really difficult but inspiring, and she also didn't suffer fools, which is one of my favorite things about her. She actually taught at my alma mater. I went to Wake Forest University in North Carolina, and she was a professor there for many years. I never got to take a class with her, but there was a video at orientation for freshmen that's just Maya Angelou being like, "Welcome to Wake Forest. I'm Maya Angelou," and everyone was just like, it was great. So, Maya Angelou, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings is her memoir, but also please check out some of her poetry because it's really, really wonderful. Hot Mess Express, Population Rebecca.
Woo! This beautiful book, The Sun and Her Flowers, is the second book of poetry by Rupi Kaur. She also did Milk and Honey, which is amazing. And everyone should read that too. This is a little bit more, I don't want to say hopeful. I will say hopeful though, because the first one is very dark in the way that it unapologetically explores, being a woman is really hard, especially a woman of color, and also heartbreak, and also these are the things that I feel. And this one is that, but as well as finding redemption and peace within yourself, and kind of, like the title would indicate, it's a little more like springtime if her first book was winter. And also I love hers because they come with these illustrations too.
Yeah, so it's like Insta poetry.
Yeah,
right?
it's so, and I almost feel like you're just asking for people to get these things tattooed on them. And I mean,
I'm sure people have.
I'm sure they have. I know. I was like, geez, if I was going to get a tattoo, which of these would I get? I mean, it's just ready to go there. Anyway, she is a phenomenal poet. I highly recommend reading her books.
So the next one, I think is my one old white dude on my list. But, he's one of my favorites, and that is Dylan Thomas, who is a Welsh poet in the 30s and 40s and 50s, sort of the early 20th century. And this is actually a really special addition to my heart, in that I got it when I was in Paris at Shakespeare and Company, which is one of the most hipster things I've ever done in my life. But I also picked this because the picture of Dylan Thomas is just hanging out in a cemetery, chilling. Probably his most famous one is Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night, Rage, Rage Against the Dying of the Light, that guy. So cheerful. But his poetry and his writing is just so rich. It's almost cinematic in how he describes these really, sensory experiences of, him or the people that he's writing about. And he writes a lot of, there's a lot of, misty shores and, harbors and the sea, and I just eat this for breakfast. I love Dylan Thomas. But I really love just the atmosphere of his poetry. If you like Seamus Heaney or any of those Irish Welsh mid-century poets, definitely check out Dylan Thomas. Because because I really like him.
Let me peep that cover.
Yeah, look at him. He's just
Wow, he is just
he's
straight
just
up
like
in a graveyard. Yeah,
chilling like in the middle of the
who
ivy.
do you think you are, Lord Byron? Like WTF? Come on, man. Look at that.
Except he's Welsh, so it's like
OG hipster.
Hey, what's
Oh,
up?
that's right. What are you doing over
What's
these
you doing
parts
over there?
with the dead folks? Lol.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against
Oh,
the dying
man.
of the light.
Oh,
I can't do a Welsh accent.
Welsh
I
people, yeah.
apologize to the entire nation of Wales.
And then Leo, you decided to read a poem in Spanish.
Yes.
I want to talk to you guys about Federico Garcia Lorca.
Co-sign because I also love Lorca. I know him as a playwright mostly, but I love him. Continue.
He is good at plays and also at poems. He is good at things with words. Also good at being a friend of Salvador Dali. I mean, I'm not saying, I don't know, DTR, guys.
He was literally murdered for being gay.
Oh, no, I didn't mean I wasn't questioning whether he was gay. I was questioning whether Dali was into him.
I see.
Or if he was just like, hey, what are we going to do tonight?
And Dali's like, my mustache.
I have art to do. And just like, was like blowing him off, you know?
I
like,
see.
That was the questioning. I was
got it. I'm sorry. I derailed you.
Definitely gay. I got to see his childhood home and it was amazing. And I was the only one on the tour and it was 8 o'clock and the woman was not about it. But it was great. So yeah, I don't really have anything to say except that he's amazing and he runs the gamut from like, you know, hopeless romantic Lorca to like baller revolutionary Lorca, and it's all you're like, oh, I see you grew up and
get you a Lorca who can do both.
Like, I adore his poems and I highly recommend dipping in and out of this collection. And I will recite just a brief. Oh, now I'm anxious. La lluvia tiene un vago secreto de ternura, una soñolencia amable se despierta con ella. Sorry, there's more, but I'm gonna stop because I love it.
I have a question about Lorca. In his plays, like there's a lot of magical realism to it, and sort of like the magic and myth sort of collide with like these very sort of realistic
pedestrian
sort of
kind of things.
Yeah. Ooh, look at you.
Learned that in my Spanish literature class.
Crushed it. Does he also do that in his poetry, or is poetry more sort of like in the moment kind of?
Oh, that's so hard because I feel like poetry innately lends itself to feeling like you don't question any aspects of it that are magical or whimsical or otherworldly. I do think that he certainly, there's overlap between the two.
Cool.
I think he does have poems that are pretty straightforward in terms of like realism, but then there are others certainly that are like,
cool.
Oh, but wait.
Surprise!
Yeah.
So my next recommendation is a poet that I've talked about before on this channel, and that is Kate Tempest, who is a British spoken word artist and poet and rapper and musician. And this is her only collection that she has published right now. It's called Hold Your Own. She has 2 others that are sort of long poems that are in like a single volume, but she is such a powerful performer. You can find videos of her performing a lot of her poems on YouTube, and she just commands you to listen to her. Like, no matter what she is saying, you can't look away from her. So it has a really natural rhythm to it. So I think that if you're not sure if you are into poetry or you want to look into getting into poetry, Kate Tempest is a really great place to start. But this one in particular is a collection based on the myth of Tiresias, who was a blind prophet in ancient Greece who was born a man, and then the gods were like, Ayo, Tiresias, who do you think has more fun in bed, the man or the woman? Which is very heteronormative and like, you know, like focused on the binary, whatever. But Tiresias, I don't remember what he says, but it was the wrong answer because Juno or Hera was like, nuh-uh, and turned him into a lady. So then Tiresias lived as a lady for many, many years, and then I don't remember why, but somehow he got turned back into a dude. So it's like, that's the myth of Tiresias, but this poetry collection focuses on gender and sexuality and sort of the blurring of barriers, but also growing up and coming of age. So it's really great. Everyone should read it. Hold Your Own by Kate Tempest. Also look at that cover. It's so cool. Excuse me.
Woo, nailed it.
Oh man, these burps
these
are
burps
potent,
are-
y'all.
So this next one is new. It's called Not Here.
Oh, it's this
But
one.
yeah, we got to see him at Winter Institute. Sorry, his name is He Minh Nguyen. I hope I'm saying his first name right. And he's the son of Vietnamese immigrants, and his poems talk about his heritage and the dissonance between being the child of immigrants and his parents' connection with Vietnam, and his relationship with his mother, and his relationship with his own body, and being gay, and his relationships. And some of his poems are just like, when you get to the end, like that last line is like, and you're just like, oh dang, I need to go back and reread this whole thing because what?
Yes.
And yeah, I can't
So like
describe
a sucker
it.
punch?
It's like, yeah, not a sucker punch so much as like I would say like one of those throat things.
Ooh, like a clothesline.
Yeah, clothesline. That's exactly it, but in like a good way. Everyone, that's Not Here by He Minh Nguyen. That's from Coffee House Press. Go read it.
My last pick is an oldie but goodie, and that is The Odyssey by Homer. However, this is the Emily Wilson translation, which is a new translation. It just came out, and it is the only translation of Homer's The Odyssey from ancient Greek that has, into English, that has been written by a woman. It took us until 2018 or 2017, whenever it came out, for that to happen. It's masterful is the word that I would use, because Emily Wilson is a classicist and a scholar, and she went back to the original Greek and found that so many of the famous translations throughout the years that have been written by dudes have sort of twisted the meaning of the original Greek words into something totally different than some of the other translations that were available for these very specific words. So Emily Wilson went back to the drawing board, started really from scratch, and came up with something that's absolutely stunning. I'm just going to read you the first bit because it's our video and we do what we want. This is the very first lines of The Odyssey, translated by Emily Wilson. Tell me about a complicated man. Muse, tell me how he wandered and was lost when he had wrecked the holy town of Troy, and where he went and who he met, the pain he suffered in the storms at sea, and how he worked to save his life and bring his men back home. He failed to keep them safe. Poor fools, they ate the sun god's cattle, and the god kept them from home. Now, goddess, child of Zeus, tell the old story for our modern times. Find the beginning. Mic drop. The Odyssey by Homer, translated by Emily Wilson. It's amazing. Get yourself a copy. Bring us home.
Okay, next we're going to talk about a novel in verse. It is the phenomenal The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. And
It's so good.
It's phenomenal. Did I already say phenomenal? It's magnificent. It is
stupendous.
Stupendous. It is magnanimous. It is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
Oh God!
I'm just naming adjectives. This is a novel in verse. Elizabeth Acevedo is a acclaimed, award-winning slam poet. I saw her perform her poetry, and she's just magnetic, and you just feel every word. So I read the book first before I had seen her perform anything. And I thought, Xiomara, the main character, is as an adult, I'm like, I want to be her when I grow up. And I wish that teenage me had been able to read about her. I think she's just got a phenomenal voice. And as she's doing, coming of age and learning about first love and her fights with her mom and religion and how that factors into sexuality and just being a teenager and being a woman or young woman who has attention from men that she doesn't necessarily want, and it's just the way that she frames every single stanza is amazing. And
the double standards that she is being held to that say her twin brother might not be. And so Lelia read it. I listened to the audiobook, which Elizabeth Acevedo reads, and it's just astounding. I finished the book riding the metro out to Virginia from DC, and I was crying on the metro at 9:30 on a Wednesday night on the Orange Line, just it's so good. So that should give you a clue as to how good this book is.
It's one of those books where you finish it, and then no matter where you are, you want to just stand up and be like,
and like shout and like pump your fist in the air.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just so
amazing.
good. So yes, those are our recommendations for Poetry Month. And if you guys are interested in poetry, if you're super into poetry, you know, let us know who your favorite poet is or your favorite collection of verse, or poetry or a book in verse, whatever. No,
I have one more poem I want to recite.
Yes, tell me.
For my favorite poet.
Do it.
Will you walk with me out on the wire? Because, baby, I'm just a scared and lonely rider. I want to know how it feels. Love is wild, babe. I want to know if love is real. That was Bruce Springsteen, everybody.
Okay, so I have a question.
No, I do not want to have a summer party in your basement.
But do I make your heart beat like an 808 drum? Is my love your drug?
It is.
From America's Poet Laureate, Kesha.
Thank you for watching. And thank you for our mugs. And for our wheatgrass shots.
Yes! Bye! Oh my god.
Jack Daniels.
If Kesha sponsored a video, I would literally die.
I think I'm already dead just thinking about that.
Kesha, if you're listening, I will do a video about any book you want. I love you.